Oi. Yes, what's good YouTube? It's your boy CTPT, back in for another video. I just thought I'd bring you guys over for a little chop up, eh? So today, April 20, as we're recording this, it's April 29th. This day, a year ago, I competed and won my very first bodybuilding competition. And since then, the journey's been crazy, man. I'll be real. Before I go into everything, let me actually go into what actually got me into it, because that is a question I find gets surfaced a lot. I think because I've been training for this year, well, this June marked my 7th year training. So I'd always been in the gym environment, you know what I mean? And obviously when my coach Daps, big him up, refer to him as Sensei, he presented the opportunity of bodybuilding, and he actually asked me, would I be fond on it? Initially I'd expressed like I said along the line, I definitely want to get into it, kind of see where I lie, in the competitive aspect of things. And then he kind of just, it was a thing of just like, oh, well, why not now? What am I waiting for? And that kind of was what it was. I think I told myself, oh yeah, eventually, I will eventually get into it, etc., etc. But then when I was surfaced with the opportunity, it was a no-brainer really. I was just like, yeah, why not? Let's see where I lie. I think me being this self-proclaimed gym rat, it's only right that I have that experience under my belt, I can't really sit here and talk on other people's physiques if my own's not been judged in that sense, in the competitive aspect. It's funny, the day I actually decided to compete, I actually went through had a little moment. So obviously when Daps presented the opportunity to me, he had to have a look at my physique, obviously, to assess what he was coaching, basically. And then he might not even know this, so him hearing this will actually be quite amusing. But obviously he wanted to see my physique, so I took my top off. Obviously I've taken my top off before in the gym many times, so it's nothing I'm not familiar with. And then after, he asked to see my legs, obviously, because depending on the class, there's different categories. So mine was men's physique. They're only judging the upper body. Sometimes they judge the calves, but that's something that's recently come up. And then obviously there's classic, bodybuilder classic. So that's like full body, judging your legs as well as your glutes as well. So obviously he wanted to have a look at my legs. So in the moment of that consultation in the room, he'd actually asked me to, not fully strip, obviously, but asked to have a look at my legs, which required me to take my trousers off and have me in my boxers. No, did he? You know what is funny? Because in that moment, like, I'd like to say I'm very secure in myself, right? I'm very self-assured, and likewise with himself. So I shouldn't have felt a type of way about it. But I just remember feeling quite anxious and hesitant, It was like, oh, like now? Like right now? It was a very weird moment for myself. And then that kind of allowed me to realize that, Clive, are you really that guy though? Like, I think as a man, you should walk around not thinking you're the shit, but you should be very self-assured in the things you do, right? Very secure in yourself and your masculinity. That's what I thought at that point in time. But being asked to be half naked in front of one man, when essentially the nature of the field I'm getting into would require me to get half naked in front of hundreds and thousands of people, and I'm here moving hesitant to do it in front of one man. So then, that's the thing with bodybuilding. Like, what my greatest takeaway from bodybuilding as a whole was just that little lesson there. It's not even like just getting big and looking good, but it was almost that internal security, am I really up for this? That was the biggest thing that got me into it. So from then I was just like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And luckily, having at that point of time, I would have had 5-6 years of training under my belt. So not much work had to be done because foundations was obviously built already. So this would have been last December I agreed to do this. So we went for a little month or two trying to pack on a bit of mass. Obviously we established that it wouldn't be realistic for me to develop loads of new muscle tissue for me to obviously compete, only because that's something that would require like months. So it was December at this point in time. I was sitting at roughly 76, 77 kg. I do tend to sit at that weight anyway. That's where I am now even. I don't tend to hold a lot of weight, not easily anyway. So yeah, obviously I packed on as much as 84. So I managed to jump up to 84 kg, which I think is the most I've ever held. I don't think I've ever gone any heavier than 85, to be honest, which I'm keen to see how that looks, but because of the activities I find myself indulging in, it's a myth, I can't lie, it's a myth. One day though, one day. So then obviously, yeah, bulked up to as heavy as 83, 84 kg by the end of January. And then from January to the show date today, shredded down to, what, 73 kg? 73 kg or something like that. So that was an interesting process. And then yeah, I won my first show. How I won, quite skeptic. I'd actually initially came second. Now, the show I'd entered was a first-timer show, so individuals that are new to bodybuilding, that have not competed before, they jump on that stage category and they get judged. The person in my class that got first place had competed in previous competitions. I don't think he had ill intentions in doing so though, because he didn't have a coach, so he lacked knowledge in certain aspects. He'd competed with a different, he'd competed under a different organization. So I competed, that competition was PCA. I believe he'd done, I can't remember what other one he'd done, but there's loads of organizations that do these shows, right? And he'd competed with another one, thinking that if it's your first time competing with this organization, PCA, then you're valid. It wasn't valid. He got disqualified, and then first place was given to me the next morning. So I'll take it. It wasn't a sweet victory, but on paper, at least I could say, hey, look, I won my first bodybuilding competition. So that was a good moment. That was a good time, man. And from there we kind of got the ball rolling. So that was the regionals essentially, which granted me a place in the finals, the championship stage, in October, later that year in October. So we've got this period of just kind of working on the things I needed to amend. What we decided, myself and Daps, was I was going to enter another show with a different organization in August, the end of August. That was the Two Bro show. That was a tough show, I'll be honest. So obviously it was juniors. The one I'd done was juniors that I came first in, because at the point I wasn't 23, I was 22. So when you turn 23, then you're in the men's. So I was 23 competing with other men basically. End of August, I entered the Two Bro show. That show I came fourth. Now that was a tough lineup, and I'd actually seen a couple individuals I'm familiar with on stage, and they are like, they're the real deal. Do you know what I mean? They're the real deal. That was quite a humbling experience. I wouldn't say I was dejected, because these guys just held a lot more mass. Now what we're looking for with this bodybuilding thing is they want mass, but they want definition as well. So you can imagine it's trying to establish that balance where you're super shredded, you're super lean, but you still want to maintain a lot of mass. Vice versa, you want to maintain as much mass as possible whilst having that clean, lean tissue. Do you know what I mean? That dry look. So to establish both of them, you've just got to be a freak of nature. You know what I mean? And the truth is, third place, second place, and first place, they won me over. Like they had them attributes over me. So, it was it's an eye opener. It's an eye opener. But then it was the experience I took from it, which took me into the championship stage then in October. Now that I never really spoke on. I've never really spoke on it. I just kind of dusted that one under the rug. So this will be my first time actually servicing the fact that I came 8th. I placed 8th, and there was 12 people competing. So I didn't internalize it too much at the time, because I was just like, yeah, this was just me out of my depth. Do you know what I mean? Hence why going into this year, I've taken a year off bodybuilding. I told myself I'll do 2 or 3 years, but I'm itching to jump back on stage next year, to be honest. I'm hungry to kind of get my vengeance. Yeah, these guys are just grown men, nor were they natural either. I'm going to keep it natural, so I'll look to also enter a few natural shows. But yeah, man, that was it really. I'm not an expressive loser, so, you know, even the whole bodybuilding, because that's the whole season I had last year. It's only the first time I'm actually coming on YouTube and surfacing what that journey's been like, because these things are just kind of, when I'm in the motions, I don't really like to, not really expressive like that. Do you know what I mean? When I'm in the motion, I just like to be in the moment and just get the boxes ticked. You know what I mean? But looking back on it, yeah, man, I'll say, you know, quite life changing. You know, exposing myself to difficulties has allowed me to grow internally as well as externally. Things I'll change going into next year, or like, you know, the future seasons I choose to compete in, will consist of me trying to gain a bit more mass. So if you realize I've got quite a slender athletic frame, I do need to go through a little bulk phase. I'm in mixed minds. I'm a confused individual right now. I'm a hybrid. I'm a hybrid trainer, you know. I enjoy running. 10 weeks ago I started running. I've been running since. The longest distance I've done is 15k, but you know, I've applied to do this half marathon in Manchester in October. Got a few CrossFit and High Rocks events planned to the back end of this year as well. So it's going to be quite difficult for me to go through this bulk phase that I need to go through. But you know, I'm not really putting pressure on myself to do anything or achieve anything as a whole. You know, I'm just kind of expressing and enacting what my vessel feels is necessary, you know, because that's what's got me here in the first place. You know, that's kind of where this longevity has been established, because I wouldn't be doing this for 7 years if I didn't have new challenges, new incentives for me to kind of crunch and tackle. So yeah, been interesting, I can't lie. But honestly, to kind of sum everything up, I'm just wanted to come here and express gratitude, you know. I'm grateful for experience, I'm grateful for life. For me to, you know, be in front of the camera a year later and say that I'd completed and won my first bodybuilding competition, and, you know, kind of reflection on what life's looked like from then till now. We thank God, man, honestly, we thank God. So I guess stay in touch, loads more to come. I need to figure myself out, man. Like, I need to figure myself out, because I told myself I'm not jumping back on stage with this baby boy physique anymore, man. Like, I said I'll jump back on when I've got a lot more muscle tissue, packing on a bit more mass, just so I'm in a better position to compete with the men that I'm going to be up against. Because, it's funny saying this, but I'm still a youth. I've still got a baby boy's physique, as mad as it sounds. Like, you know, when you're jumping on stage with people in their late 20s, their early 30s, some people, individuals, this is like their 7th year competing, their 7th season competing and whatnot. I've only got 1 season under my belt. So, like I said, I'm definitely coming back for vengeance. I'm hungrier than ever. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Just a little chop up. Me just kind of regurgitating my thoughts and whatnot. It's been your boy CTPT. Stay tuned for the next video. Peace and love.